Yo, today we are reacting to Game Theory I Solved the Hour of Joy Poppy Playtime. So make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the Game Theorist, and comment down below. And let's get right into it, Bob.
Toy was an inside job. You heard me
Inside
right.
job.
Poppy Playtime's biggest and most consequential event didn't just happen because the toys wanted to rebel one day. It all hinged on the help of one employee. And I know exactly
Game Theorist?
who it was.
The Game Theorist did it?
Hello Internet, welcome to Game Theory, the show that is on this VHS right here, but to watch it, you'll need to hit that subscribe button. Yeah,
that's
YouTube
crazy.
snuck in the night and replaced my play button with a subscribe button. Listen, I don't make the rules. Let's just go along with their weird plan for now. I'm sure it won't backfire in any way.
That's crazy how YouTube is just right behind them trying to kill them.
Whatsoever. Today, we're diving
Trying to snuff them out for telling the truth.
Falling back down the Bunzo Bunny rabbit hole that is Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. Last time we focused on how this story is going to end, with us sacrificing ourselves to save everyone, but in the end, we'll actually save no one. The prototype would survive and go on to wreak more havoc on the world. So with that positive outlook,
Why is there so many
really
explosions?
much further forward than that, I wanted to instead look behind us to the start of the prototype's plan, the Hour of Joy. The Hour of Joy is the moment from this franchise, the moment that separates the lore of Playtime's past from the games we're physically.
But like, what are you supposed to realistically do when like 10,000 long legs are on your body? Like, they can just stretch and just choke you, like...
Playing.
This man just got the bad hand.
To Chapter 4, we have been given a few very small clarifying details that tell us exactly how the Hour of Joy came to pass. Because while the prototype is incredibly clever, and while the toys are incredibly strong and hungry, it turns out they couldn't pull off this plan on their own. They needed help. They needed someone who would go along with their weird plan. A plan that would almost certainly backfire on them for doing so. Maybe watch your back, theorists. As I've mentioned, in order to look back and figure out...
Why are they making YouTube so menacing looking this episode?
Also look at one of the more recent additions to the series and work backwards. Because it's not really an indie horror franchise if you're not retroactively adding lore to previous games with new ones. One of the new VHS tapes in Chapter 4 presents us with an image of a character we haven't really seen in a good while. A resource extraction specialist. These guys were the primary characters we played as in Mob Entertainment's spin-off multiplayer game, Project Playtime.
Here's the job. You need to collect toy parts to make a giant toy. Get that giant toy on the train.
I remember this. They need to update this game.
Has largely been abandoned by Mob for the last year and a half.
They gotta update it, bro.
Because it was a lot of fun to play.
Has anyone made a fan cam edit of
Matt Pat cameo? That's insane.
But more importantly,
that's crazy how bro is cameoing on his own channel.
It was surprisingly useful for lore purposes. The main thing for us was that the toys were running amok around the factory, which sounded awfully similar to what happened after the Hour of Joy, the big event on August 8th, 1995.
Oh, that was a good transition.
The toys finally rebelled against Playtime Co. and took over the factory. You can see the connection, right? The Hour of Joy happens, the toys take over, and so Leith Pierre, ever the businessman, decides to send these resource extraction specialists into the factory in order to keep their giant
get out of the box
alive, leaving them to fight off the giant toys that remain.
Leith Pierre was evil for that shit.
We've believed for a very long time. However, this Chapter 4 VHS...
Nah, cause like, have you ever seen the TikToks where Leith Pierre or Leith? Is it Leith or Leith? I'm gonna say Leith. Have you ever seen the TikToks where Leith Pierre is just like, okay, I need you to hide in that box now, and then Huggy passes by, and then he's like, okay, it's safe, get out of the box, and then Huggy's just like right there, like.
Tape tells us a
hell nah.
different story.
I think that happened to me when it first dropped too.
Just different colors. They also have their own labels to help us identify.
Break Time, Stella Greyber.
Like Break Time, which was the tape with the security guards being on break that we talked about in our last video. Most of them are pretty on the nose, and this resource extraction specialist tape is no different.
93 theater incident.
That reads 93 theater incident.
What was the theater incident?
I don't blame you. We've only recently learnt about it during the Chapter 4 ARG. Man, Bob really did just hide all of their lore in this thing, hoping people would solve it and pay attention, rather than putting it somewhere like, oh, I don't know, in the actual game? I don't know what you're smirking at, FNAF. They learnt this from you.
Who taught you how to
do
this stuff?
You, alright? I learned it by watching
FNAF has done ARGs?
Oh yeah, the theater incident. As the name suggests, the incident took place in the Playtime.
It's crazy how Scott caught a stray.
Tell, based on all of the burnt evidence photos we received, it was a fire broke out.
I think the argument was FNAF always puts like new lore in its books instead of just putting them in the games. I think that's how that argument comes together. I don't know.
And many people died.
I don't remember a
When the
FNAF ARG
incident was
though.
then investigated by Playtime Co.'s private investigator, it was determined that the culprit was none other than Harley Sawyer. These two factors made it seem like a separate incident from the one in Project Playtime. They did both share the theater setting, but the ARG didn't give us any indication that the experiments were involved in the theater incident. It was just Harley Sawyer going insane and causing a fire. Now though, we have this tape that not only confirms—
Okay, now I'm scared though, because is an ARG like going around the world to different places to find the puzzle? Because that's what I thought an ARG was. Or is an ARG just like a website and then they have to decode it? Maybe if I knew what ARG stood for, I would know.
The resource extraction specialists were there because
Maybe I should search that up mid-video.
Also confirms that the experiments were
But don't worry, I'm
loose
listening.
during the theater incident, just like they are loose in the theater of Project Playtime.
And are we just
Alternate reality game. Oh.
Because I guarantee it won't be so easy to toss a new coat of paint over 60 visitors dead, or the dozen resource extraction specialists who went swimming in the bellies of those things.
It just lines up too perfectly. Project Playtime is the direct result of the theater incident. Harley let the monsters out, they ran rampant across the facility, killing a bunch of people and setting the place ablaze, forcing them to create the resource extraction team in order to get the bigger bodies locked away once more. Now, this may seem like just a small—
I would never
change
sign up
to
for
our
that job, bro.
understanding
Hell
of
no.
Playtime
Nope.
9. But actually, this one alteration has massive ripple effects to other theories we've had over the years. One example is the identity of the player character. Thanks to the orientation notebook, I had theorized that its
Still gotta read that.
W, a scientist for Playtime Co., might be the player character. They were able to write about the incident and the extraction specialists. So if the incident was the Hour of Joy, that would mean they had to have survived the Hour of Joy in order to talk about it.
Surviving
But
the
if
Hour of
resource
Joy is some
extraction team
crazy
was
shit
formed
to brag
after
about.
the theater incident, as we are now being shown, that means PW likely suffered the same fate as their colleagues and didn't survive the Hour of Joy. Therefore, they can't be the player character. Now, there is still a chance that my theory is proven true down the line. We know the player didn't show up for work that day and was likely involved in the experiments due to the hallucinations in Chapter 3, focusing
Guilt
on
haunts
regrets,
you.
and in Chapter 4, playing sounds from the lab at the end of the chapter, the place the experiments were happening.
I don't know why I didn't piece that together when I was playing it.
Don't have any evidence that it was
I low-key
PW rather than just another scientist.
I low-key just stopped thinking about who the player was after a while, because, like, the games come out after, like, 15 months, and then like, the guy just goes through horrors in the chapter again without, like, saying anything, so I'm just, like, never thinking about the main character, but the lore in front of him.
And
We need some
PW's diary
dialogue.
entries do end the same day as the Hour of Joy.
New
so
play
I'm
care
not
schedule comes
particularly
in.
hopeful. This would also snowball into the current status of Leith Pierre. Again, because PW was writing about Leith forming the team, we thought that meant Leith was alive after the Hour of Joy. But as this is now tied to the theater incident, it's most likely that he too perished during the Hour of Joy like everyone else. However, the biggest change this has to our understanding about the lore relates to the VHS tapes that we received not in Poppy Playtime, but in Project Playtime. During each phase, we received a VHS tape that contained recordings of
I remember
Harley
that.
Sawyer and his Bigger Bodies initiative.
I didn't know it was
At the
Harley who
end
was
of
talking,
each of
though.
them, the tape suddenly changed to a text-based message from a mystery
Can you hear
character.
us?
Based
Can you
on their
see
use of
us?
plurals when referring to themselves,
Give
and
us a
saying things
sign.
like "you made us this way," and their use of the same telephone that Ollie used in Chapter 3, we believed this to be the prototype talking to us. Now that we know the Ollie we've been talking to is indeed the prototype,
What did you do with Ollie? I'm right here, Poppy.
this feels all but confirmed. The thing is, we've never really been able to put our finger on why they're talking to us, other than to feed us fans more lore. There are
Maybe to
lines
taunt
like, "You
us?"
must prove yourself, and we will call you when the time arrives," which felt like we were going to be part of some
Oh,
big
they got an
master
agent.
plan, though that didn't really make a lot of sense with Project Playtime being after the Hour of Joy. But now that we know this game comes before the Hour of Joy, and thanks to a special VHS tape from Chapter 4, things become much clearer.
How could this happen? There's fail-safes, security measures. It's impossible. Personal agendas have long been the downfall of this company. Is it
Oh.
reasonable to believe there were conspirators
This VHS is titled Warden Office
Oh.
8/8/1995, the same day as the Hour of Joy. And despite there supposedly being a bunch of systems in place, the experiments have managed to get through them, and committedly being a bunch of systems in place, the experiments
Like, this motherfucker was ready to kill. Just look at his eyes. Look at that devious side eye, man.
have managed to get through them and
Bro was
commit to the Hour
excited.
of Joy. That, my friends, is why the prototype is talking to us on the VHS tapes of Project
Huggy is a
Playtime. After the
menace.
theater incident, they are looking for ways to kill everyone, to cause the Hour of Joy, but they need help from an employee. They are asking us to betray our colleagues and allow the toys to escape and kill everyone. Now, to be clear, I'm not
I feel like
saying
Kissy
that
didn't
the
want to
person
kill
watching
anybody.
the VHS tapes in Project
Poor
Playtime is
Kissy.
the same character as our player character in Poppy Playtime, and that's because of one crucial detail that we're given in this VHS tape.
But without executive access, how could anyone even get through?
It couldn't just be any old employee helping the prototype. It had to be an executive, someone with access to the Omni-Hand. For a while, we felt like our player character could be one of the executives, but more recently, it felt like that was less and less the case. And then in Chapter 4, Harley said this.
I can't say I remember seeing your face before.
Harley knows the executives very
Doesn't
well.
remember
That's
your
been clear
face.
since the beginning. So for us not to be recognized, we cannot be playing as one of the executives in the main series of games. But the person from Project Playtime that's watching the VHS tapes, the one that is helping the prototype, likely is. And the best part, I know which one it is. You might be thinking the answer is obvious. Harley. He's holding a big grudge against Playtime Co.
This line was hard. The
PW
anger you
refers
can
to him
hear
as
in
one
it.
of the executives in the
It's a nice
orientation
line.
Notebook, and thanks to another VHS, we know he's been working with the prototype pretty much since Leith betrayed him and turned him into a discount FNAF endoskeleton.
Damn. Bro really is a discount FNAF endoskeleton.
So of everyone, he's the one with
What a cape.
motive to betray the company. The thing he lacks, though, is the means of which to do so. He was an executive before becoming an experiment himself, but he was turned into an experiment to take away some of his power.
From now on, you're here to give the lab boys answers when they need them, and carry out procedures when and how we tell you to. That's it.
In that tape with the Warden, he doesn't currently have access to the Omni-Hand, and so is using the Hour of Joy to manipulate the Warden in order to get one for himself. But if it's not him, then who is it? Well, according to the Warden, only 4 people have the executive access necessary to pull off something like this. Leith Pierre, Stella Greyber, Eddie Ritterman, and himself. Quick side note, but hey, look, we now know who the 4th slide was back in Chapter 2. With the Warden being the 4th executive, it only makes sense that the 4th slide is his. So, good job, Mob, another minor mystery solved. Although, I have a feeling they didn't give us his name because they realized coming up with a name using the letters they left on the floor doesn't really work, but I digress. With there being only 4 potential suspects, it becomes pretty
Damn, that
easy
actually,
to
no, like, damn, that just, like, hit my brain, like, a little bit after she was done talking. I don't know why I didn't hit it when he just said it, but yeah. Damn. Now we know who the main, yeah, that's crazy. It really was that minor of a mystery, because, like, we just completely forgot about it.
narrow down which one
Damn.
is our Project Playtime accomplice. It can't be the Warden, as the VHS shows he's pretty scared and confused by the whole ordeal. You know, unless he's just the most incredible liar. But we've already got plenty of those in this series, so I don't think Mob's gonna want to go back to that well too often. Right, Mob? You don't want to go back to that well too often. It's also unlikely to be Leith Pierre, as he's all in on the Bigger Bodies initiative. He'd have no reason to want it to fail. He even keeps the Doctor alive as a computer specifically because he needs him to keep the project alive. So Leith is also
I'm still trying to figure out how the hell they
Before chapter 4,
digitized a
we
whole
didn't
man.
really know
How
a
do they
whole lot
have the
about
means
this,
to
but
do
in this
that?
chapter, we finally get to hear from the man himself, and he
That's so weird.
I'm a businessman, miss.
Like, I don't know if they've ever said it before, but like, like y'all have the method to put people in toys. That's cool, but like, how do you digitize a consciousness though? It can't work the same way. You can't put a poppy flower in a PC, can you?
The silver, and I don't like that angry. I get paid to see that things get done. And this, like everything else, will. get done.
Man, why does the British guy always have to be so unapologetically evil? That leaves us with Stella, our
Goddamn.
only remaining suspect. Stella has always been an intriguing character to me. Much like Rich, she's one of the few characters that's been around on these VHS tapes since chapter 1. Her presence felt so important that in our very first theory, we suspected that she might have been the person turned into Poppy. We later changed our view on that due to some other evidence, and with this new chapter, it's very clear Poppy is Elliot's daughter.
I wish you were here, Dad. When you were running this place, you always knew what to say.
But that left Stella without any real.
Oh my God, why did they turn her 3D?
She's still very present and being shoved down our throats. Like she does have an important role that we just haven't.
Why are they
figured out
playing
yet.
the 3D
Maybe
backward?
this could
What the
be
hell?
it. Except thanks to another VHS tape in chapter 4, we hear Stella talking to Leith about being completely on board with the Bigger Bodies initiative, just like all the others.
Well, the work itself, what you've all been able to do, I mean, it's nothing short of a miracle. That's a change I want to help make.
And like that, we are out of executives, and Stella's role is once again left unanswered. Or
Damn.
it would be if it weren't for one thing: the timeline. In the Chapter 3 ARG, there was a note about the Bigger Bodies version of Catnap being introduced to Playcare. Stella has written part of that report, so this takes place after her meeting with Leith in the Chapter 4 VHS. And yet, despite saying in the meeting that this is for the greater good, her focus is less on Catnap's effectiveness and more on how the kids were responding. She states that she actually doesn't want to use Catnap on the kids because it will scare them. And even despite the kids warming to him, she claims to, quote, still have reservations. While she said that she was okay with everything to Leith, really, she still wants to protect the kids. In the actual Chapter 3, a VHS shows how excited she is to have one of the children adopted, only to realize that they are one of the children being used for an experiment.
Damn.
Amazing. You'll be perfect for...
Oh, that was her in that tape.
There's been some complications. The form says testing. You're in charge of all this. How could you not know? I don't. I'm sorry.
Now, there is a world where this tape happens just before the one we find in Chapter 4. That this incident is the reason Leith has to tell Stella what's going on. But listen to that clip again and pay attention to Stella's delivery.
You're in charge of all this. How could you not know? I don't. I'm sorry.
That "I'm sorry" is what does it for me. She spends the conversation saying she doesn't know what's going on or what testing means. But her "I'm sorry" feels weighty, knowing even. She is the head of Playcare. She should know everything that's going on. Weighty, knowing even. She is the head of...
Very much unrelated to what he's talking about. What the fuck is that? What is this?
Playcare. She should know everything that's going on, and if she didn't, I don't think she'd be keeping her composure quite so well. But she's not panicking or promising to resolve the issue. She just sounds crestfallen, defeated, like she's had the realization that it's another kid she couldn't save, because she does know what testing means. Then finally, in the Chapter 4 ARG,
They're gonna pull that kid apart and steal his organs.
One more recording that shows us that Stella, once again, still
Playtime
cares
is
for
evil.
people.
Poor people. Did we really have to...
Did what was necessary, Miss Greyber.
Of course.
Despite supposedly being on side with Leith, she continues.
How is
to
it
question their
necessary to
violent
pull
methods
people
and then
apart for
stutters when
toys?
trying to keep her composure. Because
shit's
if she
crazy.
doesn't, she could end up like those poor people.
Word of this doesn't breathe beyond the factory's wall. I've made sure.
What we're seeing are the
I made sure of that.
Stella's armor. She tried to get on board, to see things as Leith did.
Eddie's
She
locked
could
in.
never really justify Playtime Co.'s actions. The theater incident showed that the progress Leith had promised her wasn't being made. The kids were still becoming monsters, but she also knew there was nothing she could do about it, making her the perfect candidate for the prototype's plan. After the theater incident, Stella went back to her office in the Playcare, and that is when the prototype reached out through the tapes. He asked her to trust him and sent her his iconic Ollie phone to feed her more instructions when the time was
This would be the
right. In
perfect
phase
candidate
2
for the
tape,
spy.
prototype recognizes
That's
that
insane.
she wants answers from them and promises they will come in in time. If Project Playtime hadn't been unceremoniously abandoned, I believe we'd have seen those answers. They would have been the prototype telling Stella exactly what she needed to do and promising her what he'd promised everyone else, that the orphans and the toys would all go free, escaping their horrible fate. All she'd have to do is use her executive access, the Omni Hand, to open the way for the prototype and all the toys to escape. And hearing that there was finally a chance to save the orphans without the wrath of Leith or Eddie coming down on her, I have no doubt that she would have accepted that deal. But as we know oh too well at this point, all of
The
that
signature.
is another one of the prototype's lies.
I thought we were gonna leave the factory. This prototype
Like,
says we can't leave.
if y'all leave, where would y'all
She
go?
lied to everyone about what the Hour of Joy was. The toys
y'all gotta
didn't
think about the
escape.
future.
They killed everyone in the
Why did y'all
factory,
think
and
y'all
the
was gonna
orphans were
leave?
locked away inside the prototype's lab. Just like Poppy, just like all the toys, Stella had the rug pulled out from under her. She was tricked, and based on how the prototype was more than willing to punish Poppy when she didn't agree with his motives, he definitely wouldn't have been above killing Stella too once she realized she'd been sold a lie. That being said, I'm not totally sure that's how Stella's story ends. I'll admit, this is a little more on the speculative side, but just like how I've been
It would be cool if she
convinced
came
Rich
back
is
to
going
make
way
everything
more important
right,
to the
if
actual
this theory
games
does come
because
out to be
he keeps
true.
showing up in VHS tapes in every chapter. I'm also convinced that Stella has to be more directly involved with the games rather than just being an off-screen character. If we think about it, she was in charge of Playcare. She cared for the orphans, not just on an emotional level, but physically cared for them inside the facility. If the prototype wanted to keep these orphans alive for all these years, he might need someone with the skills and desire to help him do that. Stella had helped once before. She'd proven her trustworthiness, so why not have her continue to help him while he worked with the doctor to find whatever this secret is.
I'm still your best shot at cracking that secret.
And as for Stella, while she may not have
Probably how to
appreciated
put
being
themselves
lied to,
back in their
she
own bodies
saw
or
what
some
happened to
shit.
anyone that
Maybe that's
opposed
the secret.
prototype. We also know that when push comes to shove, she will bend the knee, just like she did with Leith. I could easily see us entering the labs in Chapter 5, but when we find the orphans, it won't be the prototype we face. It'll be Stella, or whatever it is she's become. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory! Thanks for watching. World premiere on Game Theory.
That was a good theory. That was a good one. I can see why I made number 14 on trending in a night. That would be interesting. It would be interesting to actually have a toy that is on our side that survives the chapter too. If she were to like turn around and like join us or some shit like that. But I don't know. If you guys want more game theories, make sure you guys hit the like button, comment down below, subscribe for more to come kiss through today, and I'll see y'all later. Peace out.